Hey everybody, this is Rido and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, July 23rd. I started late due to just my sleep schedule getting all off because of insomnia. So we're on the European account. We didn't get all three things done yet on the Asian account, so we may have to go back here. At least in this instance, I've got just 2 victories and Paladin cards to play. The thing about playing Paladin cards in particular, nothing to re-roll, is that my Paladin Murloc deck doesn't really have that many Paladin cards. But I can't go get a victory with that, so let's start with that. YouTube has implemented a new system. I assume this is not an experiment, but a new thing. YouTube really hasn't talked about it, where you could put hashtags in your videos, or well, you put hashtags in your descriptions, and these hashtags show up in above even the title of your video. I have seen it on my main browser on PC, and I've seen it on my Android YouTube app. So what happens when you click on the hashtags? They take you to basically just a search for that word. I think there's probably going to be an evolving backend as far as what gets returned there. You can have up to 15, but you probably don't want to go up to 15 because if you're using the max all the time, they may very well penalize you for that. This was a problem with all my videos because at the very bottom in the social links section of my description, there is a link to battle.net. If you want to friend me, that's RYDO number 1423. It was translating that number 1423 into a hashtag 1423. So the system isn't great. I saw, I believe on a PewDiePie video, a similar incident where just whatever has a number sign in it immediately gets put in as a hashtag. So to avoid that happening, I was able to append some default hashtags of video game, let's play, and Rido to the very top of the description of all my old videos, so you should see those hashtags now. Going forward, I imagine I will try and fix that a little bit more so that we get more specialized hashtags, but generically speaking, like Hearthstone, it totally makes sense to do Hearthstone and Hearthstone and maybe card games, something else. I'm not going to go crazy with hashtags or anything, but if this leads to a way in which more people find my videos, that's great. That's exactly what I would want to have happen. But I also wouldn't be surprised if this is just a YouTube experiment that goes away. The information is already there, so it's pretty difficult to remove that information if they did abandon that, and there's not really a lot of reason to do that either. So the hashtags are almost certainly there forever. As for clicking on Rido as a hashtag, my channel does come up under the channel section when you click on that hashtag, at least it does for me. And my channel dominates recent updates in the past week, probably in the past day, but there still are some random people's videos that still come up in the algorithm that that I have not been able to beat. I don't know if there's really a competition there, honestly, because there's like another channel or two that have called themselves Rhino or Rhino Gaming or something, and it's like 5 videos and they did it for a month and they gave up. Clearly, like, mine is the one you would find in that mess, but if you're trying to find something different, you're not seeing 100% me. And for my own personal self-promoting desire, I would like it to be 100% me. Of course, that may not really suit people who are actually trying to find something else. Let's see. That.
Reporting for duty.
Okay.
Repent.
Get that. Moving on, though, we've got a lot of news, and I'm half asleep still, certainly, and that may just end this stream. We're just doing a sleepy stream. I did see one YouTuber, he like,
give me a quest.
His channel got like a strike for something. It's kind of not uncommon for this YouTuber, and so his secondary channel doesn't have enough watch time to monetize, and I think in a sneaky way to monetize that, he's like streaming himself sleeping, and I'm like, man, that's just desperate. Really, really desperate.
Well, I can see.
So, certainly not something I would do ever, but it does have a slight appeal. Alright, so that was the victory. The other victory we need is a druid or hunter, so let's try to get that first, and then we'll come back. We're just gonna play on casual. Game of Citra has an article, Get a Job, Cloud Empyrean Games is hiring a principal character artist. I did finish playing Remember Me. I mentioned that in the previous recording. One of the interesting things is, as you get collectibles, you get all the concept art drawings. And whoever the concept artist was drawing something rather different from what the final product looked like. In fact, it's so different that I kind of think if Remember Me was a 2D game using the concept artist drawings as backgrounds, it would have been a very different feeling, much more like Blade Runner, much more interesting to me looking game, compared to just kind of a hyper realistic animation style. Yeah, Remember Me takes place in Neo Paris in the future, and I think particularly maybe a San Michel area, if that's an area. But they don't really flesh out the city or make it a open world environment. It's all very linear. You're mostly wandering through sewers or small, narrow corridors. If you want to be the principal character artist of Cloud Empyrean Games, that you'd be working in Los Angeles, California. Let's see, at least 8 years of experience in game development for using 3D modeling software like ZBrush, Maya, and 3D Max. So you really have to be a video game modeling artist more than just an artist. Yeah, I don't know if there really is a job for somebody who just is somebody who draws, who just makes concepts. Maybe you could work with a flat 2D point-and-click adventure game type game, certainly. If you can spread out enough to find a sprite making software or learn the techniques to make sprites in Photoshop, then you could probably make a 2D game. But once you take that move over to the 3D realm, you're animating something kind of completely different. You're making these textures that wrap around objects. You're possibly also the same person who is modeling and framing where a character's going to stand or where they're going to pose or what pose they're going to do. That was another thing that seemed kind of obviously missing in Remember Me, is that when you take just a slight nudge forward with the character, it just snaps back to the previous animated pose. So she'll the main character will bend her knee forward and then just kind of slide, not really step for a half step when you just tap the controls, and then her knees will just snap right back to being straight. There's no smooth transition there, and it looked pretty awkward.
What to do?
Gain armor, gain armor. Let's do that instead.
For the wild.
Try one.
There we go. TechRaptor's got an article. Hello Games promising more community input after No Man's Sky Next. Hello Games is already planning on the future of No Man's Sky after their massive multiplayer update. No Man's Sky Next hits tomorrow. Which this is kind of an argument against playing No Man's Sky Next in my mind, if he is going to try to bow down to the community and give them everything they think they want. I think that's inherently what the developer of No Man's Sky was trying to do in the first place. He seems like the type of person who is just way too easy to please, eager to please other people, and because of that he'll overpromise and lie. So yeah, I really have no desire to play No Man's Sky, even if they're with multiplayer being added. The main thing for games for me is story, and there's really nothing in the story that indicates it's been changed or improved upon at all.
Try one.
PC Gamer has an article. The Fallout 76 beta is coming in October. I'm not specifically sure why you would want to play the beta of this game, since it's a Bethesda game and even the final product is probably going to feel like a beta. This article does say that they've emailed Bethesda and asked them if the beta will be on Steam. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually is only through the Bethesda.net launcher, as a way of them trying to promote people using that launcher and not using Steam, which, at least for me, is not going to work. Let's just draw cards. I don't need more armor. And draw cards. Let's see, this would be 8. And if I play this, that just does nothing helpful.
Engaging TC-130 mental dislocator.
Time waits for no one.
So I should hold on to this card.
For the wild.
until next turn. Game Master has an article, rumor, the next gen Xbox consists of a traditional and streaming devices due out in 2020, reportedly codenamed Scarlet. This is an article I'm actually going to read the fullness of, which is not something I usually do. Let's see, what do I want to do as far as kill that one.
Who are you?
Play a little conservatively. The next generation of Microsoft console is a family of devices named codenamed Scarlet that consists of a traditional local console and a streaming box out in 2020. On the face of it, so is the Xbox One, though. It is a traditional local playing game, but it certainly also has the ability to stream. You can't do too much with the streaming because of the terrible internet in the United States, but there's a little bit there, so I don't know what you add to an Xbox 2, or I guess Scarlet, we can call it now, the Project Scarlet, to improve the streaming capability of it. At best, what you have is 2 independent 10 gigabit per second network ports, which the vast majority of people the vast majority of people are simply just not going to have any use or any way to support 10 gigabits per second, so that inherently is kind of a pointless thing to add. While the traditional console is said to be in the early days of development, there's this person called Thurrott that's leaking this. Thurrott has had a lot more to report on the streaming box, which is said to work with Microsoft's upcoming game streaming platform. Scarlet Cloud, as it's referred to, apparently. Let's see, now if I play this, do I get the excess mana? No, I don't. Alright.
Where shall I strike?
Scarlet Cloud is reported to be shipping alongside the traditional console. It's said to have a limited amount of local compute for tasks such as controller input, image processing, and collision detection. A splice or slice of the game will run locally, and Microsoft's cloud will stitch it together with the game running on the server side. This feels like what's getting rumored here is not a realistic device for them to put the Xbox name on it. At this point, you would probably have to call it something completely new, because that just does not line up at all with a powerful device. It feels like what they're saying is they're putting something that is the equivalent of a Pentium class processor or less, something maybe even as slow as a Raspberry Pi in there, and then they're just hoping that the cloud support can do the rest of it, which that means that this is just not going to work. 1 damage and draw a card. Let's see, deal Let's see. Continuing with this article, Throwout reported that Microsoft's end goal is to enable access to Xbox from any device at any time, as the company's cloud platform has data centers in every major market of the world. Which, that's a questionable statement. I guess they call a major market because they're there. Arguably, the way that was described, though, that seems like that's less than what even a cell phone would have. Let's see, we need a druid or a hunter. Let's try hunter. Victory. Yeah. One source of the website noted that Microsoft's plans may even reduce latency in all aspects of a game, as if a multiplayer game using Microsoft Azure as its central service, Scarlet Cloud will be closer physically to the multiplayer server, which results in less latency. So that's kind of a, well, yeah, if they have servers everywhere, but the question is, how well does Microsoft Azure servers really work, or is it just a bunch of hype? Which I'm not sure that the Azure servers aren't somewhat hyped up.
A mistake.
And how many games are just going to, are really just going to give up their servers, unless Microsoft is giving server time and support to every game released on their console for all eternity. Maybe after that 6-month window, all the games become just self-hosted games that then are just connecting players directly to players. The website noted that all Scarlet games will run on all Scarlet devices, meaning that there will not be any game that runs on the traditional Scarlet console that does not run on the streaming box, or vice versa. And inherently, if they're committed to that, that means whatever the Xbox 2 version of Scarlet is, it's going to be kind of a dumbed down experience, and not as powerful as I think it could be. Also, it's really worthwhile to point out that when the Xbox One came out, they wanted to do a lot of ridiculous things, and it sounded awful. They wanted an always online console. They really didn't want to even sell physical discs, or if they were selling physical discs, they didn't really want to let you play while you were offline. Inherently, this is that exact same thing over again, just being sold yet again. The idea here might be that the Scarlet streaming service is introduced as this great thing, but oh, by the way, if you buy the Xbox 2, you still have to always be online, and there's going to be ridiculous DRM, which still isn't going to really fly. So you're going to see the stories turn bad for Microsoft, I think, if they don't dance around that subject quite a lot. Let's see. Poisonous. Oh, he was already poisonous. That was stupid. Early days for this rumor, certainly. And no real pictures of what the box is going to look like. Ideally, here's the thing. Scarlet is a deep red color. So if that name means anything at all, you might start to see some red accents in there. But ideally, here's what you want on the next Xbox 2. You want, in my opinion, as a fan of the Japanese video game market, and seeing how just sort of right now the Xbox One is starting to gain some traction in that market, what they need to do is create a much smaller device that that very specifically is targeted to the Japanese audience, because the Western audience does not care what the Xbox 2 looks like. We really don't. We don't care if it's a sleek black like the PlayStation. We don't care if it's small and white like the Nintendo Wii. We don't care if it's colorful like the Switch. So, small, number one thing. Probably white, probably sleek. If it cannot fit within the dimensions of a shelf designed to hold manga, it's not the right size. So that's the number one thing. Number two thing they have to do is they need to convince. Let's see. They need to convince more Japanese companies to release on day one. Probably allow for some more skins and customizations. Do I think there really needs to be much done with the Xbox 2 controller? Not really.
Well,
the only thing I could think is get that controller by default to be a little bit cheaper, while also I would say it would be nice if it had Bluetooth built in and maybe Wi-Fi built in, or something like a longer range style of connection than Bluetooth. Regular batteries and rechargeable batteries, I'd want both options. Let's see, let's go ahead and attack with this one. This looks like this is gonna work. Like a lot of game support, a lot of you'd want built-in. While they're saying it has streaming support to stream games towards you, at this point you'd want streaming support for it to stream to YouTube and Twitch. Let's see, I guess I just need to play Paladin cards now. Let's stay on the European account and do that. I'm gonna go over here, do this, and play this, and that should play a bunch of Paladin cards. There's not been any major increase in graphics output ports or anything, so you just need the latest HDMI support with probably an analog output for a surround sound system. You want support for the newer surround sound setups, certainly, but also you kind of know that that's not going to get used very often. You can ignore any real support for VR. I don't think there's any real need for that. If there's anything like that, all you really need to do, I think, is sell a separate box that would take the regular video and turn it into VR. But yeah, I don't think you do anything there. I think you 100% ignore VR and say VR is for PC players. Just go with that. I'm not sure this deck actually has any Paladin cards. This might just be so built around the concept of Divine Shield. I may have to play the Murloc deck. You really don't need more controllers. You don't need more players in front of one screen. It'd be nice if one Xbox 2 could play two different games, or at least arcade style games, on two different screens, so that you could like wirelessly connect a second monitor and have a second group of family members in a different room playing against each other. Although that is kind of a weird,
fight.
even request, certainly. The thing there is it would be two different groups of family members playing two different games on one console, which even PC gaming really doesn't have a great system for that.
The light dims, but
And if you theoretically are going to have something that's the equivalent of a cell phone streaming games, maybe they're going to get really cheap. And I think that is part of the problem with the Nintendo Switch too, is that there's just a considerable amount of sharing that you're going to have to do for that $250 device. Yeah. Yeah, I watched a YouTube video talking kind of about the fall of the original Xbox coming to Japan, and how one, they didn't want to get on the bad side of Sony, and two, Microsoft just did not understand Japanese business at all, and was insulting and offending the developers, and they just did not like it. They did not like the way that controller, the original Xbox controller, the Duke, as it's called, looked. It's huge, it's awkward. They didn't like how big the original Xbox was, which it was really big. But inherently, I think one of their major problems simply was they just didn't bring alcohol to the party. Like, if I was gonna launch a new console anywhere worldwide, I would go to the Japanese. I'd say, let's have a getting to know you meeting. I'm gonna bring alcohol. Let's get drunk. I'm here to listen to what you want and what you're interested in. And we'd have meetings like that with every single game developer and every single publisher, and I'd want them to leave that meeting feeling like what they want has been heard and will be responded to, and from that point, so yeah, instead of trying to pitch a Western device to a Japanese audience who would be unreceptive, I'd be like, I've got some ideas, but I want to hear your ideas first. That's what's going to get them on board in any society, and in Japanese society particularly, getting them a little tipsy and happy that you drunk with, you socialized with them is a big deal. So yeah, I'm hoping they learn the mistakes of their past, both with the Xbox One and the Xbox 360, and we'll see what happens. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if in Japan there isn't a considerable amount of people that don't have internet going to their house. It may simply all just be going through their cell phones. We have kind of transitioned from being a world where everybody had a PC for a brief time to now not that many people having a PC. Anyways, we got tons of news still to talk about, so let's just move on. PC Gamer has an article. Dungeons & Dragons new setting is a Magic the Gathering crossover. And Amazon posting leaked the new setting, the first officially published crossover between the two worlds. It's been 20 years since Wizards of the Coast bought Dungeons & Dragons. I suppose this could happen, but this leak also is kind of, I think, slightly unrealistic. It seems like a bad move if they are going to do it, because you're then at that point, risking two of your main 2 IPs on the concept of them cross-promoting and causing people to want to play the other, when honestly it feels like you're polluting both of them. The bottom of this article says the next cycle of Magic the Gathering sets released in October, called Guilds of Ravnica, and it's the 3rd set of Magic cards to use the Ravnica setting. So I think
you are past
I think the point here is Dungeons and Dragons is adding Ravnica to it. Oh, Wizards of the Coast actually confirmed this. This sounds like a bad move. I don't know really how well Wizards of the Coast is really doing. Honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody told me that they're on their last legs and about to go bankrupt. It's just so expensive to play Magic the Gathering, and I'm not sure that too many people are getting into it. Moving on, PC Gamers has this article, Fortnite's Founders skins are finally coming. Epic revealed today that the 2 long-awaited skins will be released with the 5.10 update.
What would Uther do?
Let's see. So, if you purchase the Founders Pack of Fortnite Save the World, the player versus everyone portion, instead of just playing but the free part Fortnite Battle Royale, you are going to get some skins. I imagine the skins aren't going to be super valuable, but maybe in an extremely long run it would be, but I'm not sure the skins would be not going to hold value either at that point. The point of playing this was to play Paladin cards. I am not playing Paladin cards. We've got an article from Gamatsu. It's Shadow of Tomb Raider. Welcome to Paititi gameplay walkthrough. Seems like it's a video, 10-minute video. Here, let's skip around. So, in Rise of the Tomb Raider, there was a small village that you didn't really do too much in, that you could wander around. It feels like in this instance we have a slightly bigger village, or in all honesty, the village in the previous game was there was a valley area that was separated into a couple of encampments, so there weren't too many people even next to each other. This village looks bigger, certainly. Maybe there will be some more interaction and quest giving going on there. I'm not really sure, though, if I believe that. So, I've gotta start saving some time here. Let's get rid of this custom mage, and let's just make a paladin deck. Like, inherently, when I do the deck rebuilds, I think I'm gonna always need something, something like this, just an empty slot. Custom deck. You can see on my European accounts we're still not in the best position ever to build the expansion deck builds. I heard somebody say, it was Kriperian, he said, and I don't know where he got this information, that the 18 whiz-bang decks that you might get, the 1 of 18 whiz-bang decks you might get at the beginning of the game if you play that card, are going to be based off of 2 of the recipes, and thus they're not going to be that great. I don't know where he's getting that information, and sort of on the face of it, it might make a little bit of sense, but it doesn't seem like that was a guarantee at all. And we have Lara Croft in this trailer. She's just doing what she always does in the reboots. She's walking around, swinging on a rope. That's about the biggest thing. She's in full pants again and sleeveless shirts, and she's got the bow. Seriously, after this trilogy, they need to definitely try to turn this from being Uncharted, and get rid of the bow, get rid of dual pistols. Every now and then, maybe you have sequence where she picks up a bow, but get away from that as much as possible. Have her be able to do cartwheels, backflips, jumps. Get her back to being a unrealistic Indiana Jones-esque action hero. Like when Indiana Jones grabbed the Golden Isle and there was a giant boulder rolling towards him and he was running, or in Temple of Doom when he's sticking his hand under to grab his hat back from being crushed under a stone door. None of that was ever realistic. And they need to get back to that and make Lara Croft feel like Lara Croft. Like, I'm not saying she has to have bigger polygon boobs. I'm not saying she has to have hot pants. Just 3 major things. Give her back to acrobatics. Give her back maybe a bit Slicer's, a bit more sassy of an attitude. Give her back her twin guns. This is more than 3 things now at this point. And give her back her superhumanness of agility. Just make her feel like she feels. As far as this trailer, it's not showing me anything. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is due out for the PS4, Xbox One, PC worldwide September 14th. That's an interesting article from Gamasutra, considering Gamasutra mostly focuses on Japanese announcements. We've got an early access game on Steam called Blessed Surface. It's a pixely, looks like a hack and slash game with platforming, boss fights, a lot of games like this. Seems like they're calling it an open world 2D platformer. It uses a side-scrolling perspective, a functioning ecosystem, equipment customization.
Let me think.
No, I don't think so. Like, I've just seen too many of this. Like, just way too much of the exact same thing over and over again. Right, let's do this, I guess, and do this, I guess. Yeah, Blessed Surface is $5.99. And almost certainly, yes, this is the first game from this developer. Gematsu has an article. The adventure game Incredible Mandy is coming to Switch. Follow Mandy on Fantastical Tale. Let's see, the PC version is due out in 2018. It's from a Chinese studio, which inherently I shouldn't ignore games just because they're from a Chinese studio. I'm looking at the trailer. It seems kind of like a Wind Waker-esque
Back to your homes.
game. There's a... I assume it's a girl? Although, I don't know if I'm really looking at a girl. It looks more like a guy, frankly. He's got a cape, he's got a sword, he's jumping, he's platforming, he's pushing blocks, he's flipping switches, he's got some other more unique magic maneuvering mechanics. I'm just gonna stick with him. The world that's being shown seems to be floating items with not a lot of other things on there. So I'll keep an eye on Incredible Mandy. Okay, this trailer that I'm seeing now must be a more advanced trailer than the one I saw before, because the other one was very simplistic and this now has more polish to it. The worlds look bigger now, there's more to it. I think they've changed it now where the guy still kind of looks like a guy, but I think it's supposed to be a girl. It's hard to really tell when you've put a flag, when you put a cape behind them, they don't. You're not getting shoulders, and if you're only looking from the behind perspective for most of it, you're not seeing most of the features. Yes, this trailer does a lot better job than the first one to show off this game. This still could be a rather short experience. It may really just be designed to be something like a Zelda Wind Waker clone without having the money and budget to turn it into something. On the other hand, though, since PC games, since Nintendo games don't come to PC, Incredible Mandy may be the best we get as far as a Zelda clone. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this. And yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to say at the moment. Just I'll wishlist Incredible Mandy if it comes out, if people tell me, if reviewers review it and say it's pretty good, that's good. And by reviewers I mean if actual people on Steam play it and review it, not mainstream video game reviewers. I'll listen to the mainstream video game reviewers too, but I take everything they say these days with a bit of salt. Gamasutra has a blog, Building a Home, How to Construct a Card Game. So let's see, this seems like it's a lot of explaining, making basically Excel sheets of cards and balancing things because of that. I may have not talked about this. YouTube is doing a small experiment on iOS phones where you see an Explore tab, like the new hashtag thing. It's supposed to only really affect 1% of the viewers, but if they expanded this Explore tab and people start seeing my channel more, that would be great. But I'm not sure I ever am going to be able to trust YouTube to promote or in any way small YouTubers. I feel like I'm just always going to get the short end of the stick regardless of whatever features they do. But at least it's going in the right direction. At least it's not something as dumb as the popular videos from creators with over 1 million subscribers vertical that they were experimenting with. It's like, maybe this is the direct response to that experiment, saying, look, we tried that and we can't get more people to stay on YouTube longer watching the same channels over and over again, which is inherently what the problem is, with at least as YouTube sees it. I would also say that the announcement was put on just a YouTube help forum, so they're still not on the same page about where announcements should be put out and how they should be put out. Creator Insider also talked about it, but the fact that there's 2 places where conflicting information could go is weird, and the YouTube help portal's not good enough to be the place to put an announcement like this. It should have been on the YouTube blog. And yeah, that's just getting all the people to communicate in the same spot is a major problem in YouTube. Part of which is because I think at least internally in Google, so probably internally in YouTube, everybody was communicating on their own service system, and that's kind of where Google Plus came from. We've got a game on Steam called Perseverance that's supposedly, it's tagged as an adventure indie violent visual novel. Whatever was I calling this? Western animation style? Comic book style? I don't know how you can call something a comic book style though, because there's just too much variety there. Like, I could totally see the art style I'm seeing right now in a comic book, but that doesn't mean all comic books look like this. But I guess I'll have to live with that description right now. Until I think of something better. A thing I'm noticing about all these screenshots is the fact that it's not really showing any kind of interface or text or anything. So this doesn't feel like it's going to be too much of a game, really. Do I want to put this? Part 1, I'm always upset with games that are part 1s. But part 1 is 25% off for $2.99. It is in English, Russian, and Polish, which those languages always seem to be strange when those are the 3 languages. Let's look at this developer.
Let me think.
There are several other games made by this developer that are positive, I guess, so that goes in this win category. There are a couple mixed reviewed games.
Let's move quickly.
Also,
Reporting for duty. The battle for justice.
let's keep on playing. Nah, I just don't see anything that would make me want to play Perseverance Part 1. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, what I think about the Spectrum Retreat. I've already been sold on playing the Spectrum Retreat, so I want to play it. I don't think anything Rock Paper Shotgun has to say would change my mind. The Spectrum Retreat is right now $12.99. It's another one of those games that if somebody was to gift it to me as a way of supporting my channel, I would probably play it from day one and stream it, do a special stream or something. It's 85% positive with 34 user reviews, which is surprising. It came out July 13th, and it still doesn't have that many user reviews, which inherently that means my system is slightly flawed when I say something like, oh, I'll play this game once there's 100 user reviews. It seems like you're not guaranteed, even in the cases of A titles and AA titles. There's no guarantee that they will ever get 100 reviews, positive or otherwise. We have a game on Steam, Mystery Case Files Rewind Collector's Edition from our friends Big Fish Games. It's been a couple weeks, so of course they're releasing another point-and-click adventure game. This one for $13.99. Seems like the prices might be going up. Is this some effort to just slowly get all hidden object games that you release up to a $20 to maybe even $60 a game? I mean, they're already pushing the price extremely high at $12.99. Going another $1 is crazy. And it still really feels like the only reason they release them at that price is just so they can discount them later. We have an early access game on Steam called The Plant. Its description is all in, I assume, Russian. Yes, and English is not supported. It's a free-to-play game. Well, all I see is a Russian game. It's not widescreen. It looks like it's probably a pretty basic adventure game. So yeah, can't really say too much there. Like, I really guess I can't call a Russian-only game a Russian troll game. Might just be, there might be this new category growing of Russian low-effort games for Russians. Let's see. We can figure out what's going on here.
Unleash me.
Nope. TechRaptor has an article, Lego The Incredibles review dash the Avengers. So if you play the Lego games and you liked them, I imagine Lego Incredibles is just a moving improvement of that. I don't really see a reason why The Incredibles would be any better or worse than any of the other ones. So I just want to scroll down and see what review they give it. They give it a 7.0, very good. Let's see, pros are fun gameplay, smart visual design, entertaining open world, and great soundtrack. So it seems like Lego Incredibles has like an open world section more than some of the other games. The cons are weird story changes, crime waves interrupt progress, and it's occasionally glitchy. Which, of course, if I play it on PC, or my PC at least, it's going to be really glitchy. I still have 2 Paladin cards to play. So let's jump back in here. Gematsu has an article, Dragon Ball Fighter Z for the Switch adds 1 vs 1 mode, 2 vs 2 matches, and offline 6-player mode. So, it may be now the best way to play Dragon Ball Fighter Z if you've got people in the same building playing that game. Kids, I assume. Which, I don't know. There's some weirdness now at this point. Like, is a 14 or 16-year-old who is probably the appropriate age to be watching Dragon Ball into Dragon Ball? Because it's been a while. Or is it the 10-year-olds playing Dragon Ball Fighters when they really shouldn't be? Or is it just a bunch of nostalgic adults who watched Dragon Ball Z when it first came out? Wouldn't be surprised if it's the nostalgic adults. As for me, I'd still love to play Dragon Ball FighterZ on PC, since I'm a PC gamer. It doesn't really change anything to have 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 or offline 6-player mode for me, since I'm going to almost certainly be playing online if I'm playing against anybody at all, not just doing the single player experience. I want to play the game, but I'd probably just go through the single experience and that's it. PC Gamer has an article, is multiplayer really what No Man's Sky needs? Updates have greatly improved No Man's Sky, but the core of the game, solo exploration, is still missing something. I kind of totally agree with them in that general idea. I don't really need to read this article. I guess I am doing basically what everybody does, as reading the headline and then not reading the article connected to the headline. But the thing about No Man's Sky and the solo exploration is that there's just no plot line, nothing to discover that's interesting. I would almost want, if I was going to try to enjoy No Man's Sky, I would want it to be a scenario where you are in a race to find something. You've got to go to different planets to find different parts. The battle. Almost, I guess, like Outlaw Star or something, where you're getting chased by people who are going to different planets. You're finding different components. Each is a puzzle piece leading to the next puzzle piece to find some great thing. In fact, Outlaw Star is the exact plot line you would want in something like No Man's Sky. Outlaw Star being an anime that aired a while ago, a few years ago, not a long time ago, really. I don't know who I'm kidding there. It aired a long time ago. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article, Rocket League loot boxes odds revealed. What's under the hood? So, the chance that you'll get a rare item is 55%. The chance you'll get a very rare item is 28%. The chance you'll get an import item is 12%. The chance you will get a exotic item is 4%. The chance you will get a black market item is 1%. Does that all add up to 100%? Let's see. That's 40, that's 95, 99, 100. Yes.
Let me
The chance that you will get a painted version of one of those classes of items is 25%. And the chance that you will get a certified version of the items, whatever, I don't know what certified means. Everything else makes sense. As just levels of rarity. The chance of you getting a certified version is 25% too. So, if this was the same chances before they announced this, I would be a little surprised. It feels like they've come back and made it a lot more. But then the article goes on to say the studio says these odds haven't changed since loot crates were added in September 2016, and if we do make any changes to drop rates, we'll be sure to post the new numbers here on the blog. And the reason why they have to post the numbers is not just because they're being nice, it's because different governments are telling them they have to post the odds. I'm not super happy with the fact that Rocket League has loot boxes, but I think it's a good game despite of the loot boxes. where so many games are bad games and they have loot boxes, or mediocre games with loot boxes. And I think that makes a pretty big difference.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see, we've got a game on Steam called The Light Keeps Us Safe. It's early access. It's, I think, from one of the developers of the game Limbo. It's a 3D game where you're in, it's rather dark like Limbo, and there's these red lights that if you were to tell me, I would say the red lights are places you're trying to avoid, not places you're trying to go to. And it seems to be kind of aliens that have taken over the planet. It's coming in 2018, available October 11th. This was a oh wait, it's from the makers of Sir, You Are Being Hunted and the Signals from Toba, not the people who made Limbo, so apologies for that.
Reporting for duty.
It says it's a procedurally generated environment, different each time, which probably means I'm not going to be super interested in playing the game
For
at
justice.
that rate. It says fiendish traps and disturbing hostile environments. Frankly, the trailer didn't show you anything. Unique light-based interactions and challenges. No crafting. Tremendous sense of satisfaction overcoming certain doom. So You're Being Hunted, I think, was kind of like that too, where it was a procedurally generated idea of a game that nobody seemed to really want to play. Like, I saw people review it and get hyped about it, but I'm not sure I saw anybody actually play the game. Alright. So it's been another hour, and we're now approaching 9 o'clock, so it'll be 10 o'clock probably, 10 o'clock Central Time, before we are done streaming. So I'm slightly starting to wake up now. Everything's been done on the European accounts, so we can now move over to the Americas account and at least get 2 things done there. If we get all 3 things done, we can go back to the Asian account and get that done. And I'm hoping we get the news done, but I'm certainly not going through it very fast. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, friend me on Steam, gift me a game or a gift card, or send me a Steam code through Twitter direct message. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.